Let's take a look at the fastest way to get through this GRE quant question that has to do with indirect variation. So I can see I'm given my equation, and it's also clarifying for me that k is a constant, which means it's a number that never changes. And it's asking me that as x increases, what is y decreasing by? So first things we need to know is we have a great big trap answer in here. So even if you have no idea what to do, go ahead and get rid of that answer choice. But let's come through and let's analyze what we can do. I'm going to plug in numbers that keep this statement true, but also make it very easy for me to work with percentages, which means I'm going to work with multiples of 10. So let's say x is 100 since we're dealing with our percent on that. Great, easy number to work with. So what are two numbers I can divide by that keep my multiples of 10 that would make this true? Well, I can say that k is 1,000, which would make y 10. So I can say 100 is equal to 1,000 divided by 10. I can see that that is indeed a true statement. So now let's go ahead and let's see what's happening to x. X is increasing by 25%. And again, the benefit of plugging in our 100 here is I can now say that x is going to be 125. My constant doesn't change. So I keep that 1,000 in there. And now I'm going to put in my y variable down here. Fraction that equals a fraction, we can come through and cross multiply. The 125y is equal to 1,000. We divide by 125, and we get y is going to be equal to 8. So now all we need to do is we need to compare 8 to 10 in terms of what its change is. Now, hopefully you're recognizing that 8 is indeed 80% of 10, right? We can see where that math is coming into play, but that means we have another trap here. We need to look at what it decreases by. So our percent change is going to be our difference over our original, which means I'm going to do 10 minus 8 for a difference of 10 over my original of 10, since that's the value I plugged in first. And we can see that it did decrease by 20%. So now one of the things to remember here is anytime we have the variables in the question and they're not giving us any actual values here other than that percent increase, as long as we hold true to our given statement, we can plug in any numbers that we want. I can say x is 10. I can say that k is 8. Whatever I'm doing here, as long as this relationship continues to hold true. But by working with my multiples of 10, it makes the math a lot easier for me in terms of finding those differences and those percent changes, looking at the effect. It also helps me cut down on those careless errors because that mental math or that logic can also come into play here. So you can certainly try this question with other numbers, but again, the only way we can get through this is take the math out of the hypothetical and put the math into the concrete by plugging in our own numbers for our variables.